Okay, it's the 13th of October, Thursday. It's 10 o'clock. I just did a video on the Orbs and power lines for someone who made a comment. And I haven't done one on the moon hologram in a while. And there it is, the holographic star. Okay, it's an energy ball. It's not a solid object. It's not a moon. Okay, it has more properties of a star than a solid object, and it's a hologram made out of light and energy, and it's not a moon. So there are all the orbs around it. You can see them going around. The bright part is the nucleus, and that's the hologram we'll be looking at, the nucleus part, which people think is a moon. But you see these lines when it makes that X? Hold on, I'll just get it to where it's an X. If I can get the right distance. No. Back up maybe more. It's really bright tonight. You can see that cluster around it, right from back there. I'm trying to get the X. You can't always get it. And there. Okay, when you see that X, that's a star. Okay. So it's bright enough that when you look at our sun, that it does the same thing. Okay, so I got no filters or anything right now. I'm going to try and do it cold, just the camera. Let's see if I can pick up anything. Okay, looks pretty clear. Very bright but clear. Okay. See big orbs here on this side. Okay, it knows I'm filming it. It's going the wrong way. Yeah. Now it really knows. It's going to start jumping. Okay, this whole thing is made out of intelligent organisms or entities. They're very, very smart. Okay, I've explained already how this works. Every nucleus, the star, or this is a star as well. It's the nucleus. It works on orbs revolving counterclockwise very fast around the nucleus, or the center of the nucleus. Okay, and having a high vibrations frequency and being positively and negatively charged, the way the orbs interact with each other, they produce a lot of energy, and that energy creates all this light and heat, and that creates a star. And since there's so many orbs doing it, okay, that nucleus is the center of the activity for a cluster, and the center of energy for a cluster. And the cluster is all that is around it. Okay, that's the cluster. but this is the nucleus of it. Okay, and it's not very happy right now because I'm so close. Okay, let's see. Okay, it's very bright. It's hard to see the orbs moving around. There's zillions of them, even in that nucleus, just moving all over. So I'm going to back off because no point in looking at something we can't see. Let me see if I can get a filter on. Okay, exposure, I'll just try and darken it. Okay, let's see. I killed some of the light, most of it. Let's see now. Okay, you can see all the orbs on it. Okay, you see the whole thing is just a cluster of orbs, but they're high energy entities or organisms. They're not solid matter. The point is they could be solid matter at any time because they can control energy and turn it into matter. That's how much control they have over energy. They can create matter, and they can change themselves into any kind of a physical form because of that. Whether it's animate or inanimate physical form, doesn't matter. They can be either animate or inanimate, either an object or a subject. So that's the whole thing that's scary about them, and they're intelligent on top of it. So you never know exactly what's their, what they're going to be doing because of that. Look at the size of that, or I gotta get that lower. Just want to see the sword. Okay, hands off camera. Okay, see how big that cluster is? And that's a big cluster. And those clusters are what's glowing all over. Okay, all over. Now I've killed a lot of the light because I just took it out. But there's a lot of clusters that are lit up like that, and that's what makes this object so bright. I shouldn't say object. That's what makes this nucleus so bright. But these are living energy entities, zillions of them in a cluster that make that up, and they make it glow like that. Okay, here, normal, that's how bright they glow. Okay, but when you back off, okay, when you back off and you look at it normally, it looks like that. Okay, so it glows, actually, it glows like that. So you never really get to see what the thing is made out of, unless you do this and you darken it. Okay, and now you can see. And that's not completely darkened, partially darkened. Okay, you can still see it's glowing, but now you can see it better. Okay, I still don't have any filters on. This is just playing around with light. Okay, so now you can see where the orb clusters are, which are, charged or lit up, and which are not charged, or less charged, I should say. They're all charged, but some are less charged. The black ones are less charged than the bright white ones there. And it's the bright white parts of it that make the glow, or the light. Okay, and it's just difference in colors that seems to give it texture, and it looks like it has mountains and craters and this and that. There are no mountains, there are no craters, there's not one stone on that thing, there's no grain of sand, there's not a drop of water, and there's nothing physical on it. Okay, not even the things we put on it, because they didn't stay there. Whatever we shot out, it went right through that thing, or was destroyed before it even got there, because those things are all energy. And there, you see that one shoot by? See how fast that thing went? Just zoom like that. That's what they do here on Earth. I've shown it lots of times. Okay, they just zoom by, and they keep zooming by, and they don't belong here on Earth. They belong up there in space. But there's a lot of them on Earth, and now there's a whole lot of them on Earth. So something really big is up. I don't know exactly what that is, but whatever it is, there's way too many of them on our planet, and there's something really big going to happen, because I've never seen them in these kind of numbers, and I can see them. But what I'm seeing now is huge, huge numbers of them all over. And I'm sure they're all over our planet, not just where I am. And it's incredible how many are on our planet, and they don't belong here. So something is really big going to happen, and I don't know exactly what it is. That's what I'm trying to find out. What is it? Why are they all here? And what is it that's going to happen? So, if it's something really bad, maybe you can get ready for it, because we don't want something to happen and we're not ready for it. But it's going to be something very big, because otherwise all of them wouldn't be on Earth. They'd be up where they belong in space. But this here is not a moon, and it's not a solid object, and there's not one physical object on that whole thing. These are all living energy entities, zillions of them. And this is just the nucleus, or a much larger cluster. Okay, the cluster could be encompassing our entire planet, that nucleus powers up. Okay, but they should all be up in space, not down here on the ground. they're in the wrong spot, being on the ground. They're in our water, they're in our trees, they're all over everything. They're in our air, and they're really invading us. And they shouldn't be here at all. And they don't belong on the planet. And they're using all our energy, free of charge too. They're using our own power grid to charge themselves up. And they can store all this energy, so what are they going to do with it, with all that energy? You know, when they store it, what's going to happen to all of that energy? So that's the whole thing. And I see a lot of activity on two buildings I just filmed before. I'm going to just turn the camera over to that area. First I'm going to back it off and try and surprise them, because when they know I'm coming, they stop right away. Okay, so I'm going to loosen it. Okay, and that's where I wanted to show. Boy, that took a long time. They got a lot of power from those power cables. And they blurred out the whole camera there for like 5 minutes. Okay, but you see how they, just want to lock it in. See the way they move? Okay, now I got hands on. Okay, now those ones aren't on power cables, but it's the ones that are on power cables that blacked out the whole camera. And these are the ones by the building. There's two buildings there, and these are like next to them. And that's what they're doing. So this is the way orbs move. Okay, and you see how fast they travel? Okay, and they can travel much faster. They can travel so fast you can't see them. Then it looks like a solid line. And that's what's happening in that big building downtown. They're moving fast, and there's so many that it looks like solid lines. But this is actually what it is. It's like a string of orbs. I call it an orb stack. I don't know what people call it otherwise, and that's what I call it. So this is the way they move when they're in a string like that. Okay, but now they're where I'm filming them. Before there was many more rows. There's like 10 rows of them, but they killed the light on them. They're still moving there, but the light's gone. Like they're still there. Okay, there's a lot of orbs there, but the light's gone. But they were doing that kind of a thing before, all over, like 10 rows. Okay. So I don't want to make this one too long because I just made one that was a half an hour. Anyway, these are the orbs that are next to these ones on the cables. Let's see if they'll blink. Oh boy, they sure do. And there you can see the orbs there right now. Okay, they're not happy. That's why I don't like when they're so smart. They know exactly what I'm doing. But now you can really see what's there and what a cluster looks like and how many hours it takes to make one. And that's an active cluster. So you can see the big orb. There's two clusters there. And you can see the two big orbs that are right in the center. I'll let you watch that for a minute. Yes. It got cold all of a sudden. I had to put a jacket on. I think it's them that dropped the temperature just like that. It's like 20 degrees. It's so crazy. Yeah. Just watch that cluster. I'll get a good idea of what clusters look like. And these are all cluster nuclei, but they're clusters in themselves, okay? Because every orb is a cluster, and every nuclei is a cluster, and then there's the parent cluster that encompasses everything. Oh boy, they must be exerting a lot of power. Things are cracking all around me. Hope my camera holds up. It does some upgrades. I don't know. Things are cracking all over. Okay, that's the stealing all over electricity. It's them. And they're aliens. Okay, that's stealing our electricity. We're still slaves, slaving away and giving them free energy so that they can control us. Because they use that energy to control our minds. They control electromagnetic fields around our heads because there's so many of them. Unless you have like a real strong will and a strong mind, they can control you and make you do all kinds of things you would never think of doing. So I think that's why a lot of people are going off tangent and killing people and doing all kinds of crazy things. It's these things, so many of them are triggering people to do bad things that they wouldn't normally be doing. because they're controlling their minds, and you need to control your own mind and see the world for what it is, and not the world they want you to see, because they're giving you a view of the world that's not real. It's holographic, and what you need to do is see the world for what it really looks like, and it's full of them. And they don't belong here, and they're getting all this free energy, and we're slaving away making it for them, and paying for it too. We have to pay to use it, and they get it for free. I mean, they get a perfect system. Plus they control all of us one way or the other. If they can't control you personally, they control everyone around you. And then you do, to please other people, things you wouldn't normally be doing anyway. So, one way or the other, they have control over everyone. And that's why they don't belong here. We need to send them back into space, because that's where they come from. I just showed them on the moon, hologram in space, and that's where their home is. Earth is not their home. They made it their home, because they got it made over here, getting all this free energy. It's a source of sustenance for them. And they get energy from all our activity, just because, we're like batteries ourselves. We're packed with energy. And just us moving around and even thinking, it produces energy, and they steal all of it. And that shortens your life, and it makes you do things you wouldn't normally do, because they're controlling what you do, how you think, how you feel, and what you see. So that's not a good thing. You have to be able to think for yourself and not let these alien things influence you, because they're not even from our planet, let alone be in control of our planet. I mean, how bad is that? And there's so many of them. I want to show these. This thing will stay. I have to adjust it. I was hoping more would come up, and they're right there. There was more before, now they went dark. That's what I'm talking about. They appear and disappear. They're multidimensional, because their energy, they can exist in any kind of a dimension, at any place, and they can just shoot off and not be there at all, because they're already energy and light, and they can travel even faster than light, because they start off like light. So, and they can manage energy to the point where they can turn it into matter, at the drop of a hat. So they can turn into real things real fast. and any kind of a thing, even things we have never seen, like that may exist on other planets or someplace else, or something they make up. And you never know if it's a hologram or if it's real. You can't be sure, because these things, create what you see. If you don't have a strong mind to see through it, you see what they want you to see. And they make the world look the way they want it. I mean, for you, they know what the world looks like, but you see it the way they want you to see it. And that's what I don't like about them. They're controlling this entire planet like that. They're controlling people's minds. And people aren't even aware of it. There are people aware of it, but they're keeping quiet about it because they benefit from this. But most of us don't benefit from it. We pay the price for this. And the price is, you don't know what the world looks like, because all you're seeing is what they want you to see. You never get to see the real thing. Okay, all you're seeing is an illusion of what the world is. You never get to see the real thing. If it's up to them, you'll never see the real thing, because they'll just keep making holograms for you. And you'll never get to see the real world. Look how fast they're exchanging orbs there, those two clusters. See how fast that happens? Okay, and that's nothing. If you can see them, for every one you see, thousands go by without you even noticing it, because that's how fast they move. And that's moving along a power cable right there. They're using our energy for their own use and their own purpose. And the purpose being to create an illusion of what the world is supposed to look like according to them. But that's not what the world really looks like. This is what it looks like right there. It's full of them. And that's what they don't want you to know or see. So that's what's controlling everything on this planet. And they're really intelligent on top of everything. And that's the worst part. That's the worst part of all. So that stretches for miles. Okay? That stretches for miles. They're all over those cables. And in the video I shot before, I showed how much stress they're putting on those cables. And those cables are going to eventually snap, because there's too much energy going through them, because these things amplify the energy that's already there, just with their activity and their counterclockwise spin around the nucleus, and the velocity of it, and the vibrations frequency around the nucleus and in the nucleus itself. And that creates a lot of stress for the cables, and the heat produced and everything else, all the energy flow that's not supposed to be going through the cables That's going to snap the cable, is going to cause a short, and it's going to blow up the power station eventually. Because the short will short circuit everything in the power station and burn it up. And that's why this whole idea is not going to work out very well for us, because that's what's eventually going to happen. You know, there's no other possibility of anything else happening other than them leaving things intact. But if they stay, that's what will happen. Because they're just putting too much strain and stress on the cables, on our entire power grid. And they're using up all the energy which we have to produce, and there's a big power loss, and we're paying for it because someone has to make up the money that it takes to produce all that energy that's lost, and that's the consumers. Okay. See, now there's no Orbs cereal. Yeah, there is. I thought they stopped it. See, there's those shooting between those two where there's a gap. But they're going so fast you can't see them, or barely see them. But just like they're shooting there where you can see them on both sides, where the clusters are close together, where there's a gap there between the two pairs, they're shooting there too, and they're shooting even faster, but they're harder to see. And they're almost invisible, but they're shooting there too, because they're all going down the power cable from right to left, because that's counterclockwise, from right to left. That's the direction they're going. Okay, all their movement is counterclockwise, even around the nucleus. The revolutions around the nucleus are always counterclockwise. And that includes the Orbs in the nucleus, going around the center of the nucleus, and the Orbs in the parent cluster there, the big one, going around all of them, all of those nuclei. They're going counterclockwise around all of them. So that's what happens in space as well. It happens on the moon hologram, it happens in every star. And it happens just in space where there's nothing, just these things, because then they either create clusters of nuclei, or they can revolve around each other. All it takes is a few Orbs to start revolving around each other and create energy. And it's electromagnetic energy. And Tesla was right, the entire universe is electromagnetically charged. And it's these organisms or entities that are making that charge. And that's the energy that drives the entire universe. But they are intelligent, and they're here on this planet controlling everything. And they should be up in space, doing their own thing up there, not using up all our energy while we slave away to make it, and then we pay for it on top of everything. And they're getting it for free. So in the long run, nothing's changed since, thousands of years ago, or millions of years ago, whenever they made us. We're still slaves. We started as slaves, we're going to finish as slaves, because they're still in control. And they're making, giving you an illusion of a planet that's not there. Because the reality is way different than what they show you the planet looks like. The planet doesn't look like that. It's really way different. It looks the way I show you. I'm showing you the planet the way it looks like. It's full of them. And that's the way it looks like. So, unless we can get rid of them, most people will see an illusion. They'll never see the planet how it is, and we'll never see a planet without them. And that's what we need, is a planet without them, so we can do our own thing. Because we're smart enough, we don't need them. Okay? We don't need them to run the planet. We can do it ourselves. Okay. I think this one's long enough. I've said what I had to say. Enough about Orbs for the night. Thank you for viewing. This is Super Mushmouth. Good night.